Hey, welcome back in my YouTube family, Brandon with Taylorsfiresmoke Cooking. Thank you for being with us today. Today we are going to make some marinated garlic butter sirloin tips as well as some asparagus stir fry. Good, easy, quick, healthy, delicious meal. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, the type of meat we're going to use or steak we're using is top sirloin. This is off actually the top part of the top sirloin, which is also known as the picanha. You can use pretty much any type of the sirloin, or you can use any type of steak you want for this recipe, but this is what we happen to have for today. And all I want to do is I want to trim off all of the fat. We're going to be cooking this in a grill pan, so I don't necessarily need the fat. Plus, we're going to be marinating it. So what I want to do, I just want to take my steak and I just want to cube it into about 1 by 1 inch cubes. That way you have a nice bite-sized piece that's going to cook well and that's going to taste good and that's going to absorb a lot of that marinade that we're going to use. You can see there the cubes we have, like I say, 1 by 1 inch cubes. I have about 2.5 pounds of steak we're going to use. So we're going to keep on going with the rest of our steak, doing the same. And I have 3 of these pieces. Again, about 2.5 pounds. So just going to do the same thing. Going to trim off that fat cap and cube them down to 1 by 1 cubes. All right, now let's go ahead and get started on our marinade. Now we're just going to go directly into the bag with our marinade. No need to use a dirty up a bowl. So I have some soy sauce here. So we're going to go to 1/4 cup of soy sauce. That's going to provide most of the sodium you need for the dish. We're not going to add any salt at all to our meat. We're also going to go with 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to go in with 3 tablespoons of avocado oil, but if you don't have avocado oil, you can definitely use olive oil or even canola would work. When we cook our meat, I'm not going to want to put any oil in my pan. That way we can get a nice sear and color on the steak tips. So that oil that we're putting in there is going to help keep the meat from sticking and help provide a nice sear. Now, normally I would go in with some minced garlic, but I'm out right now, so you go in with some heavy granulated garlic. We're going to go in with some red pepper flakes. Just do that, basically to your palate. You can go heavy or light. Then we're going to go with some black pepper. I also added in 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I did that off camera. I forgot to pull it out, but we did do that off camera. So remember, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar as well. Give it a nice little shake. And we're going to go ahead and let this steak marinate for 24 hours. Now, by the time we get ready to cook it, I will then have some more garlic, some granulate or some minced garlic. So we will be using minced garlic when we cook it. All right, guys, so for our asparagus stir fry, our sauteed asparagus, I have 2 stalks of asparagus here, and we're gonna use some multicolored peppers and onion. I have my bag full of peppers here, so we'll just take a couple pieces of each one to get some good color on there and saute those as well. So what we wanna do with our asparagus, like I've done in other videos and I've showed you before, I always cut off the back ends of my asparagus about 2 inches up. 1.5 to 2 inches up. Just buck off the back ends. That way you can get rid of those fibrous, unedible pieces. We're going to discard those. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut my asparagus down into thirds. So you're going to cut about 1.5 to 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches, and then we're going to leave the tops a little bit longer because they are a little bit more narrow and they will cook faster. So I want them a little bigger. That way they all cook about the same way. Once we get them in, I'm gonna do both stocks the same way and we're gonna get those washed and rinsed. Okay, guys, we're back at the stove. We're gonna start our veggies first. Now, I already have my pan heated up, it's hot. We're gonna put in a couple tablespoons of avocado oil. Again, you can use olive oil if that's what you have. And we're just gonna go directly in with our asparagus. We're gonna saute it, give it a nice little turn, a toss, and just let it cook. What we're trying to do, we're trying to get our asparagus nice and sauteed, but we don't want it overcooked or mushy. So I am not gonna cover it until we're done cooking it. All right, we've allowed our asparagus to go for about 2 to 3 minutes. So now we're gonna go in with our peppers and our onion. You can see how I got them chopped up. I have them into fairly nice sized pieces. Those are probably 3/4 by 3/4 to 1 inch pieces as well. We don't want the peppers or the onions to be mush. We want everything to be balanced in this particular dish. So, and it makes for a nice presentation as well. Now, if you don't like peppers and onions that big, you can cut them down, you know, smaller if you like. But I like them like that for this particular recipe. We're going to go in with a little Himalayan sea salt, or Himalayan salt rather, and some fresh cracked black pepper. Don't want to overdo it with your salt in this as well. Be careful about that. And we're also going to add in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. That's going to just add a nice little balance of richness to the stir fry and give it a good flavor. So we let that go for another 5 minutes or so. Now we're going to add in some minced garlic. About 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And we're going to let it go for another 2 minutes or so, giving everything a nice little toss and turn. Doesn't take long, guys. Total time for this particular dish is probably about 12 minutes. So after you've let the garlic, some of that raw flavor cook out, just cover it, take it off the heat, set it to the side, and let's go ahead and get started on our steak tips. So here is our marinated sirloin steak tips. I've drained them. I drained all the marinade off. I didn't want it. I just wanted my meat to soak up the marinade, but I don't want to cook my meat in the marinade. So once we have that drained off, we're just going to throw it directly into a hot, dry griddle pan. This is a non-stick griddle pan or grill pan. Or you could use cast iron as well if you don't have one of these, or you can just use any non-stick pan if you have one. That way you can make sure that your meat does not stick, because there was some sugar in the marinade, in that brown sugar. So all we're going to do now is just kind of spread out our pieces and try to get a nice little brown or caramelization over all of our meat. The smell right now is so good. The house is smelling fantastic. So we've allowed to stay. It's only gone about 2 minutes so far, and you can see the color we have on it already. So all we're going to do now is begin to turn those pieces over and continue to cook them and continue to get them caramelized on every side. Just look at that. And that juice you see at the bottom, those are just natural juices that are coming out of the meat, as well as some of the marinade that was on the outside of the meat. All right, guys, so we've allowed our meat to brown pretty much on all sides. It took a total of about 7 to 8 minutes to get it all browned up. It does not take long for this at all. We're looking for a good medium to medium well, because my family's eating that. Not everybody likes steak medium to medium rare. So after we've gone that far, now we're going to add in 4 tablespoons of butter. This is, again, it's unsalted butter, and you're just going to put it directly into the bottom of the pan and allow it to melt down and mix and incorporate with your steak. When you put that butter in there, it's also going to pull up a lot of the flavors that's in the grill pan already. All right, so with the butter's gone, just about melted down, we're going to go ahead and add in our garlic now. So now we're adding in about 2 tablespoons of garlic. Now you can add in more garlic if you like, or a little. You got to remember we did put quite a bit in our marinade as well. So, and once you get your garlic in, now you just want to get everything a quick saute. It does not take long. Try to get everything coated over your meat, over all the pieces of your steak. Again, we already cooked our steak to the doneness we want. Now we're just basically finishing up the sauce. And that's it, guys. About 8 to 9 minutes and you're good to go with your sirloin steak tips. Now we're going to go ahead and take them off the heat, put them in a serving dish. Got my mouth watering. Look at that. Just pour off the rest of your butter sauce, garlic butter sauce in there. Can you smell it? Smell it. So good, guys, so good. Let's go ahead and get plated up. All right, here's our plate. Now you can see how good that asparagus stir fry looks. We also made a little yellow rice to go with it. And we're just gonna lay down a couple pieces of that sirloin steak to go with our meal, or to finish off our meal. Good balanced meal, nice and hearty and healthy. Now we do have a little bit of brown sugar in there. You can maybe substitute that. You can substitute that with maybe agave or a little honey if you wanted to. But hey, this is out of bounds, so let's take a look at that. That looks delicious. Let's go ahead and get a bite, y'all. Go ahead and cut into our steak. Now, preferably, I would like to cook the meat maybe two or so minutes less, to where it's like a perfect medium. But you can still see a nice medium, late medium is what I like to call it. In between medium and medium well. And it is like butter. So good. So good. Get a bite of that asparagus and those peppers. And the asparagus still has a nice crunch to it, but not crunchy. Just cooked perfectly, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. I hope you try the recipe. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share the video out if you will. Make sure you get ready for some more recipes we have coming. God bless.